Hello everyone. So the next task, now the front end is complete, I'm going to start from the back and then move forward. So I've already got the calipers, the discs and the pads, the seals. I'm going to show you the Rip-Part one-piece drive shafts as well, which is an upgraded drive shaft to get rid of the play in the drive flanges. I'm going to start off with the rear crossmember. When I first got the Land Rover, I think a month, 2 months into my ownership, whoever had painted it, the paint was coming straight off. It was starting to rust, as most Land Rovers do. So I've done this crossmember exactly the same as I've done the front of the chassis. The undercoat I used is called Guard. You've got to rub them down to the bare metal, paint the undercoat over the top. I usually give about 2 coats of that, and it sets solid. It is really, really good stuff. And then just paint over the top with chassis paint. So it's usually 2 or 3 coats of Guard and then 2 coats of chassis paint over the top. Now I've had the Land Rover over a year now, and you can see it's still in great condition. So that's already been done. It doesn't need to be done again. So that goes to show how good quality the paint is really. I'm going to do the rest of the chassis with doing the same procedure. So I'm going to jack the back end up, get the wheels off, get the brake pipes on the back of the axle, and then just move forward with it to the front end. I've got the exhaust off. I need to do the brakes, I need to do the brake pipes. But I've just had a look on the A-bar at the top of the axle, and the ball joint's not looking very good, and the under seal that's being put on is trapping the water in. So it is something that needs to be addressed, but the same problem is with the centre cross member in the middle. Now with the axle fitted, it's going to be a pain to get to. I need to do quite a bit of work on the axle, so I've just come to the conclusion that I'm going to take it off, and I can do all the axle work in the garage when the weather's bad, carry on with the chassis work outside on days like today. When I looked at it originally, it didn't look that bad, but it has been sat here a few months now, and the more I look around it, the more I see. There's more work than I initially anticipated, but now I've seen it, I need to do it. To get the axle off, there's 3 bolts on the trailing arms each side, 4 bolts each side on the anti-roll bars, the prop shaft, take that back off, the 2 bolts on the A-bar, ball joint. It'd be easier just taking that off rather than trying to split the ball joint. And then lift the axle down and drag it out backwards. Oh, that's my plan anyway. Start by taking the anti-roll bar off. Just remove the union for the brake pipe. I've got to drill, for some reason the brake pipe mounting's been riveted on, so I've got to drill that off. Well, that's solid, that. So that ball joint's had it. It's a good start. take the shock absorbers bolts off now. So now all I need to do is get the trolley under the axle, jack the axle up on each side, remove the shock absorber, let the axle down, then remove the bolts for the A-frame, and then pull the complete axle out the back. Just got the diff on the right hand side, for a chock of wood under the axle on the left hand side to keep it even. Then it's time to lift it out. So I tried to cheat. This trolley is too tall, so the springs are just too high, even when I tilt the axle forward. So I'm just going to put it on the smaller trolley. So that's the axle out of the way. I'm now going to get on with taking the fuel tank off, but I just want to show you this first. This is what the underseal is doing to the chassis. So you can see here that it's not been done very well because there's none on the top. But there, look, this is all underseal. This. It's actually trapping the water inside. And as it peels off, you can see how rusty it is, and now this is all over the chassis. The actual chassis where the axle's been isn't bad because they can get to that, so it's been done right. But they seem to have missed this bit. But that is the reason it's been stripped. I mean, look at the state of it. So I'll get the fuel tank off and I'll show you the rest of the chassis under the fuel tank. There's two bolts at the back. Go through the Crossmember, I've soaked them now. See if they come off. So I can't get in with the wire brush to clean the threads, so all I've done is soak it in WD-40, and then as the bolt gets tight, as you're removing it, push the bolt back on, soak the threads full of oil and WD, and then it should clean the threads as the bolt comes on and off. I don't know if I've said it before, but in doing anything like this, these are brilliant. These impact guns, rather than messing about with a ratchet, you're putting more stress on the bolt using a ratchet than you are with the gun, because the hammer effect, it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's less twisting torque, but more of a hammer, so it's jolting the nut as it's hammering. If that makes sense. So these two bolts act like pins into the back of the Crossmember. So I've already drained the fuel and removed the pipes. So there's two bolts at the front of the tank and the actual filler pipes. Now one of my filler pipes is really perished, so that's going to get changed while it's off. I might just put a silicone hose, if I can just get a hose and just replace it with one of those. I'm going to see how the filler comes out, because it's just like a bung that's pushed through the bodywork for the actual filler neck. So I might drop the tank down a little bit, because at the minute it's really hard to get out the neck. So this is the filler neck. This is the pipe that's really perished. I'll show you it once I get it off. I don't know why they've routed it over the top of the chassis. They could have been both through there and it'd have been a lot easier to get off, but I've no idea about that one. But this pipe is quite strong, so it's just a circular bung that gets the filler neck in. So I'm going to drop the tank and then just take this bit out. But of course that Jubilee clip's really corroded, so I'll just hacksaw it. Be able to get that out there now. I'll pull that out once I lower the tank down. You can probably see why the fuel tank is a bit of a pain to get off when the axle's in the way. I mean, I'm sat underneath and it's still quite cosy. There we go. So there's about a quarter of a tank of fuel in here. I've drained as much as I can without going overboard. So I've got the oil drainer ready, and hopefully, yeah, I want to save some diesel as well. I'm not just going to pour it straight in there, if anybody's thinking that. So there's two 13mm bolts, and then the cover should come down, and now I'm thinking the tank will come with it. So we'll see. So I've got the block of wood and an axle stand ready just to support it, just to help me out a little bit. Go. Oh, nice. So I'm just going to take the bracket off and see if I can persuade it to come out without taking the tow bar off. It's not far off coming out now. No, now we're in trouble. Yeah, so tow bar brackets off there. So now the tank's dropped slightly, I can get to the nut a lot easier now. That's one end. Just put a bit of heat on this nut, it's really tight. Just warm it up a little bit. And that should come down there. Right, that's the cable. Persuading tool between crossmember and the tank. Them fuel pipes through. Guide that pipe through. Guide the fella. Right, we're out. Whew! Actually broke that pipe, look. That's a lot of muck. Let's get this out of the way now. Inspect the... Oh wow, look at that crossmember. Right then. Right, hello. It's a good job I took the tank off and had a look at this crossmember. That is really rusting. Now that's not what I wanted to see. Not at all. Where the tank's been, it's not bad. But that's not very good. So I'll test that with a hammer, see if it goes through. I hope it doesn't. So this is a bit of the chassis that you can get to with the underseal, but that's a bit that missed. Oh, not done very well. It's as if it's not been cleaned properly before it's been undersealed. So you can see there the underseal's actually more of a water trap, and that's what happens, and this is why I needed to take the axle off. And again here. And it's still solid here, but I reckon if I'd have left it, it wouldn't have been solid for much longer. Regarding the axle, there's the brakes to replace, the calipers both seized on the inside piston, so I've actually got new calipers. I'll refurb them at a later date. There's the brake pipes to replace, and while I'm on the subject of the axle, I know Nigel from Defender Keswick. So this is a Diff Guard that was on mine when I bought it. It's a straight fit, it bolts straight on, and I've not seen one like it actually, so I've no idea what brand it is, but the front goes down the entire axle. I'll just quickly show you that as well. So Nigel, if you're watching, just take those out. That's one of the mountings, by the way, these two bolts. So that all wraps around the diff, and then the top piece actually clamps it onto the top as well. And I'll quickly show you on the diff. It's a really good fit. So that goes around like that, and then that bolts through, slide that over the top through the studs and clamps around like that. So this is 4mm thick and it mounts securely to the diff. It's a complete wraparound, not just a circle one that goes around the back. It's a really nice, obviously when I've cleaned it up it will be, it's a really nice piece of kit, and it really solid as well. I'll just quickly show you the front one. So this is the front diff guard. So it's a full, it goes around the entire axle. I've never seen anything like it on a Land Rover. So if anybody knows what brand this diff guard is, please let me know in the comments, because it's really nice. Now in case you're wondering, I am going to take the front axle off and refurbish that as well. But I just thought I'd show you the diff guards that was fitted already. Look at the state of me. So there's going to be a lot of rubbing down now. So I've got the axle to rub down, the fuel tank to just a wash, the brackets, the actual guard. I'll do more in depth of that. The rear cross member, I've had a poke around the rear cross member and it's pretty solid, so I'm really happy with that. I think I've caught it just in time. So I'm really glad I took the tank off and had a look at that, because that had to come back to haunt me. So I've got all the inside of the chassis to do halfway, and then I've got the entire outside of the chassis to do. So I'm going to attack that with a needle gun in the next video. So I'm going to leave this one here today. Again, I'm really glad I took that fuel tank off, and now I've seen the actual cross member. So yeah, that's it for this one. Stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next one.